just a good story. He said to move on and keep going. Imagine. We have one more life, one more shot at sunrise. Erase everything, start with new eyes. Breakfast ain't tragic goodbyes. Wanna dance nightstand. Not to reminisce, just a reminder to never go back to the life we shared. Anytime I'm feeling the urge to look at a picture, oh, I get so confused. Cause I swear I am so over you. My mommy told me that we shouldn't worry. Daddy told me just a good story. He said to move on and keep going. Imagine.
One, two, coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. Yo, shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it, my words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it, you know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly, we ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all, peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah, come on. Hey.
Welcome to PHPUgly, episode 328. We are three friends who develop the PHP programming language, talk about life, contracting, PHP, everything else. With me here, as always, I'm Tom Rideout. With me here, as always, is Eric Van Johnson.
Hello, everybody.
and John Congdon.
When did we start working on internals?
I was going to say that. Thank you. I don't think I've ever touched a line of the source code of PHP, but I do appreciate the compliment.
Well, you tried. You weren't allowed.
That's true. Very true. It locked me out.
I'm trying to say we're three friends who created a podcast together, and I'm glad we're here to do it tonight.
And as always, Tom forgot to mention we have a few people to thank for this podcast. We have a sponsor, honeybadger.io, and our supporters on Patreon. And we're going to talk about all of them a little later in the show. But for now, if you'd like to be part of this live broadcast that we do every Thursday night.
I know this part. It's discord.phpugly.com.
Come and join us.
Good job, Tom.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't even close to a good job.
Thank you.
You've been busting my ball for the last month about my intros.
Oh, busting your ball. That's a deep cut.
You know it. Yeah. All right. So you need me to pick it up from here? I can do that. How was everybody's week?
It's good. Oh, I love these intros.
I know. Yeah.
328 episodes in, and we're still doing great at them.
It's like it's new every week. Like it's new every week. This is the first time doing it. All right, Tom, how was your week? Talk to me, brother.
It was very interesting. I've been working on the same thing for 2 weeks, and then found out today at the last minute that there is a massive crisis, a massive collision of 2 data points, which means that the last 2 weeks are a total loss. And as a junior developer, it would have broken me. As a senior developer, I can recover from being broken much quicker. It's
so still broke you, is what you're saying.
It did. I have an early AM meeting tomorrow that is just like, hey, by the way, we all missed this. It's catastrophic.
Yikes. Catastrophic is a big word.
It really is.
Oh, gosh.
Now, you won't be surprised at all to hear that it's dealing with Apple.
Apple the product?
Apple the company. Specifically, Apple Pay the product.
No.
Apple the company.
We do have joys of Apple Pay. We've talked about it many times on this show.
It is a rough trade, and I was not ready for being completely ready to deploy and just having somebody hand me a pile of shit in their hand. Like, just, here you go. Here's your pile. Like, guess what? This will never work.
What? I'm confused on, obviously you can't share details too much, but what happened? Why? What rendered the last 2 weeks completely useless?
So,
I was saying, that question's to you, Tom.
Yeah, it's sort of a tough one to answer, but I'll say that Apple Pay is not a credit card processor. They are a credit card provider. So they act as a wallet. And right. You can request the wallet hand over information to you, but Apple Pay has the permissions to say, well, I'm not giving you that information. A lot of that revolves around domain name ownership and validation. So if you're working with one processor, then you can't work with another processor as well, because both of them want to confirm your domain with a different key.
Are you sure about that?
Nope.
I would say I don't think that's completely correct, because a lot of, I don't know. I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I mean, maybe on maybe on iOS devices, it is correct that you have to go through Apple Pay and you can't go through anything else.
You do have to go through Apple Pay, but Apple Pay is not a processor. Apple Pay is a wallet.
Right.
So you still have to go through a processor.
Is this happening on the iOS device?
So this is actually any device that accepts Apple Pay. iOS, OS X, anything with Safari.
Well, that sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's awful.
Did you learn anything?
Don't work with Apple.
See, then it wasn't a complete loss.
Not a total loss. Not a total loss.
How about you, John? How was your week? We
My
haven't
week
spoken much this week.
We haven't because we're trying to still get the magazine out for March. I'm sorry, everyone. We're close. Like I'm about ready to hit the button just before the show, but couldn't get it done. So either after the show, first thing tomorrow, March will finally be released. The good news is we have all but I think 2 columns for April, so April should come out much earlier.
And then we're really going to have to be on the ball for May.
Yeah, we're going to have to stay on top of it.
Why? What's happening? What's happening in May?
We'll get to that. I got to tell you, I am really enjoying using the magazine for a quote-unquote book club with the team that I work on. Every other week or twice a month, so the first and third Monday of a month, the entire dev team comes together and chooses an article that just spurs on conversation. And this Monday, we talked about Chris Tankersley's microservice article from the February issue. And it spurs on great conversation. So I highly encourage anyone that's part of a team, even if you've got 10, 15, 20 people, it's a great camaraderie, like coming around, talking about something geeky, but also how not only can you talk about the author's take on the subject, whether you agree with it or don't agree with it, but also how to incorporate that topic into whatever application you're working on. So I don't know. I find it fascinating. It's a great use of the magazine. I like it.
Is this available in like a PDF format for a whole team to get?
It is available in PDF, EPUB, not Mobi anymore. It's available in print. If you come to PHP Tech, which Tom was asking about, in May in Chicago, you will get a copy of the April edition in your swag bag. Oh, you're muted, Eric.
Apparently that will be a thing that John has committed us to.
It is a thing I am committing us to.
Along those lines, John, I've always said that if you're a person who goes to user groups, the magazine is a great little user group hack for presentations. Like if you want to do a presentation at a user group, you don't know what to talk about, pick up any edition of PHP Architect, flip through it, and I can almost guarantee you there'll be a great presentation basically laid out for you in the magazine.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always felt that way.
Interesting you say that. The editorial for March's issue that's coming out tonight or tomorrow touches on that. The big thing being, I learned so much by giving a presentation. I give a presentation because I want to share something. I learned something. I want to share my knowledge of it. Lately, it's been all about event sourcing. But giving that presentation, I go off and I learn a little bit more, which made me kind of sit back and think about all the presentations I've ever seen. And yes, those people wanted to share information with an audience, but it was also a huge learning opportunity for them as well.
Yeah.
None of us are experts and know everything about a topic.
No, speak for yourself. I will say that I always regret committing to doing a presentation, and then by the time I'm done with it, I'm always so happy that I did it, because it's just, I don't know, it's just a really fulfilling experience.
Mhm.
Maybe one day I'll actually be able to talk at a conference. Somebody will actually have me at a conference and talk.
I mean, I feel that way about Lighthouse. I did a presentation on GraphQL with Lighthouse, and it was like I had no experience, and I spent
We could tell in the talk.
I didn't do it in San Diego.
It was-
Did it in Colorado Springs. But you spend 10 hours of real hard real work time, and you can learn something that is a lifetime skill. I'm a huge proponent of that. I wish that the Colorado Springs user group had lasted longer than it did, but
You can always start back up.
yeah,
Just saying.
someone should do that.
I'm curious who Nandero is in Discord. Nandero, did you speak at Tech in the past? Or are you speaking this year at Tech? Question mark. I don't know. I don't recognize that name.
Yes,
Do
you
you, John?
do. Yes.
Do I?
Yes. He's been at our meetups the past few months.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
All right, taking him off the screen then. Well, that's exciting.
Yeah, he's huge. He's been a speaker and huge in the PHP community, even though he doesn't do as much PHP anymore. But he's been participating in the user group, and it's nice having you here in San Diego.
Man, I
Please.
hate that phrase, and I hear it more and more. Used to be
What?
big in the PHP, but doesn't really do it much anymore.
He's now, I think, if I remember, Neil, it's he's doing security more and
Yeah.
more.
Well, he was always doing security, wasn't he? I mean, I remember him
Yeah.
as a security guy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's not just him. It's just like I hear that from, unfortunately, more developers than I would like to admit. I told you guys I went to Scale a couple weeks ago,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
I reached out to the Scale organizer because we used to exchange. We used to talk a little bit. Matter of fact, I went and checked out their YouTube channel, and I am the first video on their YouTube channel from back when I used to interview their speakers for their Scale. So it was only for like 2 years. I think like Scale 11, Scale 12 or something. I interviewed a bunch of speakers. They have two of the videos on their YouTube channel. One of them just happens to be the first video. So, I'm not going to say I started their YouTube channel, but, I am the first video on the YouTube channel.
We'll say you can come back from any shameful experience. We've all dropped a database table. We've all made mistakes that brought production down.
But the reason I brought that up is there was an experience about that I didn't share with you. Now, I love Scale, and I'm a big open source person, so I'm very comfortable in that environment. But this visit to Scale, I engaged with a lot of vendors, which reminds me, John, we must make sure that we have a booth there next year. There's no excuse for us not to. We have to have a booth there next year. But in engaging with those vendors, like, I love living in my PHP bubble. I love it. But I forget how many people like to turn their nose down at PHP. And like right in front of you. It's like, fuck you. All right. Well, I guess I won't do business with you, but I'd still take your money in a sponsorship situation. There was one vendor, but there were a couple of vendors like that. It was like that. Oh, PHP. All right. Well, yeah, just give me, whatever. There was one vendor in particular, and I'm going to withhold the name to protect the innocent because I'm not saying this individual speaks for that entire brand.
Okay, if I figure it out, I'll say it out loud.
You absolutely won't. This is like this is somebody I didn't know existed until I ran into them. It's very, very fringe, but
Son.
literally that's actually a hint. It's very fringe. Just saying. But I was talking to a person who was clearly a salesperson who didn't understand, who wasn't deep into tech, and they asked where I worked. And I'm like, oh, funny you should ask. I work for PHP Architect. And they were like, okay, what is that? I'm like, we're a magazine focused on the PHP programming language in the community. She's, oh, I'm not familiar with PHP. Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. And I'm happy to explain PHP to them. This jerk coworker, obviously a tech person, comes sliding in between us and goes, oh, it's just a scripting language. It's just like for small projects and stuff. I'm like, excuse me? What did you say?
Yeah, you know, small projects like Facebook and Google.
And he's like, you could tell he was really trying to discourage her from engaging with me. And I forget what he really said that, you know, kind of was the last tick for me. And you might not know it, but I can maintain my composure, and you know, but I have a limit.
Doesn't sound right.
And he said something like, I can't even remember what he said. And I said, well, yeah, you know, we're only running like 80% of the internet, so yeah, maybe small scale. Who knows? Oh, I think that's what he said. He's like, it's really just a templating program. I'm like, okay, yeah, I guess technically you're right. That's how it started. It is a scripting language, but it's also the language that runs 80% of the internet, and it's a language that's been around for, you know, so long. And I just wanted to punch this guy in the mouth, but yeah,
and
just
it's
in
grown
general,
past that. It's no longer that.
yeah. But in general, there were like a few vendors like that, where you can see that they're very engaging. You're like, hey, maybe I can sell you something. And then you're like, yeah, I do PHP programming. It's like, okay, just like take a freebie. Just take a doll.
Okay, but I have to interject. I did go to one of these sort of San Diego tech entrepreneur meetup things. And they very clearly had booth girls and tech bros. And
where they hired people for their booths versus actually being representatives.
Yeah. So like there was a weird masculinity alpha male thing going on that made me very uncomfortable. But that was also when I realized that I had to quit my job, because I had somebody come up to me and say, hey, what do you do? What area of the internet do you work on? And my buddy and I were there together, and we said, oh, we're spammers.
What? You're spammers? That's what you...
Yeah, and we looked at each other and we were like, that's pretty much it, right? We're spammers. And then both of us had a resume in the next day where it was like, we realized when people were asking us honestly what it was we did, we had to honestly face what it was we did. And we were totally spammers. I was a very good spammer. And it did not even occur to me before this event that that's like just what I did for a living. I was good at circumventing email regulations and spamming people, and those events are very odd. You know, PHP Tech is for PHP people. Like, you're in the community, you're doing the thing, you want to learn more, but those mixers are just weird.
Yeah, that I think the one you're talking about is actually coming back up, and they just reached out to me saying, hey, can you announce this to your group? Haven't figured out what to do yet, if I'm going to or not.
And announcing anything to after May.
I mean, it's
I'll
always,
tell people that.
it's got to be with caveats. It's got to be like, hey, these are market makers, and these are people who are making their business on recruiting. Don't be somebody's extra money. fulfill your personal goals.
We had a pretty good couple of days of sales for PHP Tech. I've been really happy with the head count that's slowly growing. It's clicking up there little by little.
Just need to get the BetterHelp team out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I've been waiting to see that one because I got to figure that's going to be a big one. That's going to be a big. I'm like double digits. I'm thinking minimum 10, probably like 15. I mean, that's going to be. I'm excited about that one. Really excited about that one. I'm sure it's coming in any day now.
Any day.
Any day.
I'm not allowed to talk about BetterHelp. It is the most honest, down-to-earth company that I've ever worked for. It is the least controversial, the least everything that they do.
I heard they had some problems this week, though.
I can't talk about that.
But I can. I very much can.
No, you can't.
Absolutely, I can.
I am so proud to be working for a company that values its customers the way it does. And like, I can't get much beyond that, but the day-to-day is so focused on the customer experience, the customer value. It is, I am constantly shocked by how much the company I work for values their customers and their experience. And a lot of the shit that's been going around lately drives me crazy because I can't talk about it. Neither can you guys.
I mean, I can. Do you know what it is, Shawn?
Yeah, I shared it with you.
Oh, you shared it with me?
I shared it with you.
Hey, Woods, I like your advice. Thank you very much. That's
I
the
am
way.
honored to work for this company. Which
Well, let's just
I cannot
stay
say
that
which
way.
company it is.
You've already said it. What are you talking about? You've said it like 3 times.
I am honored to work for this company. That's all I want to say.
That's what I would expect coming from a spammer.
You are poking the bear.
You know what? He always does it to me.
I'm gonna go
If
back
you
to my
get me
week just a little bit.
fired, you guys have to hire me at the same rate.
Yeah, nope, ain't happening. We mentioned we were talking earlier about C code for when the PHP programming language, blah blah blah. I actually got to dive into just the tiniest bit of C this week because I was trying to figure out how something was working with Asterisk PBX software that we use, and it's always fun. Like,
for those that don't know, PBX is
it's
telephone systems.
Yeah, so I get to work on phone systems a little bit, and it's fun. And I was trying to look into something, and ended up in a GitHub repo in C code, and I'm actually following through. I'm like, well, this is stupid. They got the same error message right here in 2 different paths, and it's annoying me because now I'm seeing the error message in my logs, but I don't know which one of these it's triggering. It is stupid. I didn't fix it.
How did that work out for you?
It didn't.
Really, the whole "it's stupid" approach didn't work?
I thought it would. I was shocked that it didn't.
Pointers, motherfucker. How do they work?
I've been doing a bunch of coding too, man. It's just so exciting. I enjoy. I just every time I have the opportunity to do the poetry we call coding, I just get excited. I enjoy it.
When you get out of Nandaru's plight of being in management, when you can step back and actually be productive.
That's right.
How's that project going? I know we talked to the client this week, and you said that you had a bunch of stuff on you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
How's that?
yeah.
How's it
going
progressing?
Well. Yeah, it's going well. I'm getting ready. I've been bunching up all my event sourcing stuff so that I can do it all in one branch. I mean, it's all these little. So I gotta say, this is one of the things that's annoying about event sourcing, at least the way we implement it. I don't know. There's probably a better way of doing it, but there's a lot of. So what's happening right now is the client gave us a bunch of feedback where they're like, well, we want the customer to be able to do this. We want the customer to be able to do that. And like, they're mostly just flags that the client to be able to do this, client to be able to do that. And they're mostly flags that the client can set in the admin interface. The problem is everything is handled by my back end that I developed. So all these configurations now have to be pushed to my system. And the specific piece that they're talking about being able to configure is the one piece that I have event sourced. So I'm tracking everything about this thing that it's sending me. And now all of a sudden I have like another 6 like little flags to add to it, which, like, if it wasn't event source, it'd be pretty easy to do. If it was like just a straight database, I create some columns to database. Maybe I tell the model to make these columns fillable. Pretty much done, right? It's pretty simple. But now I have to, like with event sourcing, I have to like, okay, everything gets event sourced separately. So it's like, okay, if they're setting this, then do this, and if they're setting this, then do that, and do that. It's just like I'm not looking forward to that. It's like, oh, there's so many of these little flags now that I have to now event source because it's part of that stream. And it's
But
not.
I get so annoyed at this point when I go to the vast majority of the data I work in is not event sourced. And when I have somebody tell me, and it happened today, this stopped working. We allow people to set up custom SMTP servers, so they can authenticate either with an API or they can give us username and password to some SMTP server. And then usually with OAuth, tokens eventually expire, and sometimes the re-authentication doesn't work, the refresh token, for whatever reason. And the client will come to us and say that it was disconnected, and it disconnected yesterday at some point, and I wasn't notified, and I don't know why. And I go and I look in the database, and of course, everything is authenticated and working fine because it's the current state. It's not event source, so I can't go and look like, well, what was the state yesterday when they were complaining? So I understand the struggle with it, or the annoyance where, I could just set these flags and be done. But in a month or 2 months, when customers start using it and they're like, hey, I checked this flag and it didn't work, and you're gonna be like, well, not according to all of our data. Or
more importantly,
and then you accidentally unchecked it.
Yeah, or more importantly, it's like, we didn't check this flag. Why is this happening on the website? We never said for it to happen. With event source, you can go back and say, yeah, not only did you check it, but this is the person that checked it, and this is when they checked it, because we're tracking all that shit. So right. Yes, you did. Yeah, I see
who, when, and where, why.
I see the benefit of it. Like I said, I haven't argued that since like getting my head around event sourcing. I much like a lot of these programming paradigms, I definitely see the event. I just don't have the capacity to like comprehend it until for me, like understanding development patterns and workflows is like a muscle memory thing for me. Like I can't read it and understand it. I have to have somebody to explain it to me. And even then I need to do it like 2, 3, 4 times before everything starts to click. And it's a very frustrating way to live, to be completely honest with you, but it's how I've managed to survive this long. And every time I think like I'm never going to understand this, that's usually when it starts to click for me. Which I'm getting close to that with event sourcing. I'm getting close to saying I'm just not going to understand this ever. And but I feel like I'm there. Like I feel like I understand everything and what needs to happen and where it has to happen. I don't think I could do it again by myself, like creating the aggregate and all that from scratch. But I definitely feel like I'm understanding everything's purpose. Like I'm understanding how data is flowing through the system.
Yeah, that's one of those. It takes, you have to do it a couple of times to kind of get that figured out.
Yeah.
My biggest event sourcing code that still hasn't gone live, I wrote, wish I could even tell you. It's currently sitting at 125 files, over 5,000 lines added. And then the big issue happened a couple of months ago that we've talked about on the show. I then had to go rip out a bunch of it because we were no longer doing business with that company, and must have removed some 40 of those files. It's like I spent all this time.
Wow.
I did all this work, and I was like, let's just go and take them out now. But it still works.
But I mean, that's
kind of the beauty of it.
That's the job, right? I mean, like I was just saying that I dealt with 2 weeks of development on something that is catastrophically failing. We can't fix it. We can't make it work. And I think as old school developers, we've all had that project that we spent months on that never saw the light of day. And it feels awful.
It does. I mean, I've had it happen plenty of times. It's nothing new.
Well, I think if I was going to take a junior developer and say anything to them to convince them to continue on this career path, I would say you're going to work on something that will never see the light of day. It's okay that it's never going to happen. It's okay that it gets rejected. It's just, it feels awful, but it happens.
And it's not the end of the world. It's, especially if you're an employee, you're getting paid to do this code, even if it doesn't see the light of day.
That feels worse. That feels so much worse to me. Like if I'm working on something that's...
It depends on who made the decision not to release it, right? If you were paid to write code and then they said, we switch gears, it sucks. And you're like, I just spent so much of my life doing this and now it's gone. That sucks. But that was their decision. If you spent 2 weeks writing something and then you failed, that feels terrible. But hang on.
But you're going to fail.
Yes, at some time. But a way to help not fail.
I've dropped whole databases. I stepped on it. Try again.
But a way to not fail. Let's get to one of our sponsors for this episode. If you're like most devs, too much of your time gets sucked up with downtime issues, troubleshooting, and error tracking. How can you spend more time shipping code and less time putting out fires? Honey Badger is how. Hey, that was a good transition right there. Perfect. It's a suite of monitoring tools specifically for devs. It's the only system that combines error monitoring, uptime monitoring, and cron and heartbeat monitoring into a clean, fast interface. Sure, you can get familiar with any interface. Well, why waste your time learning some Frankensystem interface that looks like an airplane cockpit when what you need is clarity and speed? You won't know if Honey Badger will really save you time and trouble until you see how it works in your own tool chain. With 2 lines of code in 5 minutes, you can see for yourself. Honey Badger automatically hooks into popular web frameworks, job systems, authentication libraries, and front-end JavaScript. Imagine fixing errors before your users can even report them. 5 minutes of your time with the free trial is all it takes to see if it will work for you. It just might be the best 5 minutes you've spent in a while. Check out honeybadger.io. I love the part of this ad where they talk about Franken systems, because I agree there are some things you get into and it's just the interface is so overwhelming and complicated, and Honey Badger does make it super easy to just get what you need.
And we honestly use this a lot.
Yes.
We are we don't get it for free. We subscribe to it. I think we subscribed to it before they became a sponsor. So we've been subscribing to their service longer than they've been a sponsor of the show. So it's really that good.
Don't try too hard.
Don't try to.
We're on board.
No, we're being honest, though. That's
Yeah, not trying.
I know.
Just let them know.
I've asked Eric in the past. I'm like, they're a sponsor. I'm sure we could probably get this covered, and he's like, nah, we're good.
I like that. I like that the way you read that. See, I would have read that differently, especially that whole, honey, those other systems are like cockpits.
Airplane cockpits.
Yeah. Well, I would have brought up the cuck chair.
I'm gonna ban that word. You bother me. You bother me, my friend.
I know.
I did consider just blanking and being like, I don't know what we're supposed to do right now.
Tom wouldn't have gotten it. He wouldn't have registered.
He's already forgotten about last week. Is that what you're saying?
We're all trying to forget about last week. Are you kidding me?
Anyway, thank you, Honey Badger.
Thank you, Honey Badger.
So I want to get into a few tickets here that I have. I'm going to burn through these before the show runs too long. I say as I pause to drink.
Too late.
I'm very interested because the only thing I have is that they allowed an AI to use human interaction.
Okay, we'll talk about AI stuff here in a second. First, let me talk about GitHub. So this is interesting, and since we have some security-minded folk watching the stream today, if you are on GitHub, GitHub is no longer making it an option for 2FA. You're being forced to implement 2FA on your account. Thoughts?
Good.
I think that's awesome. What are their options? Do they? I know they have a ton. Like I use my security key. I have the OTP. Do they have SMS?
Yeah, I honestly know. I use the OTP too, so
Yeah.
I haven't looked at the.
Do you guys not have YubiKeys?
That's what I meant.
John
That's
does.
what I said. YubiKey.
So after seeing John's with his YubiKey, I really want to get one, but it doesn't make sense at the desktop because, I mean, why would I have it at my desktop, right?
Just
the desktop doesn't go anywhere.
I have a little
Kind of a pain in the ass to install.
I have a USB-C hub that's like mounted right under my desk right here with a key in it, and I can just reach down and just touch it, and I'm good to go. As I share it.
Maybe. Let's
Oh boy!
Good job. Let's delete that.
Boy! Oh boy!
Oops.
Nice and secure. Good job.
Good thing I don't use that key.
yeah, I haven't used that key in weeks.
Actually, I don't use that. I happen to have that one plugged in. The one that I use for my laptop.
The one that you
is on
just
a
touched
keychain.
and dumped a string.
I had maybe Tom, maybe you know.
Sure.
John and I had a question about this. Like, if you use a YubiKey, can you have multiple physical devices, like multiple physical YubiKeys?
Yeah. Yeah, so I have two YubiKeys. I have the one that I leave in my laptop, generally speaking, and then I have the one in my wallet.
Really?
Yeah.
I think I'm ordering me a YubiKey. I'm ordering me a YubiKey, John.
So the YubiKey is the YubiKey is a fascinating device because it is a USB keyboard, and it responds to certain USB commands to say, hey, dump what your current hash is.
Mm-hmm.
And it uses a lot of system information to figure out what that hash is. But in reality, it's just a USB keyboard.
Interesting.
So when I was at a company that implemented these, I started looking into, well, what can you do with a YubiKey? And you can do a lot. It's actually quite easy to just hack the device to output any key string you want it to output. The security of the YubiKey is that it requires that you touch it, and it requires that the algorithm, or the let's call it a MAC address. It's probably not a MAC address, but some unique key on the thing generates a random number at an expected rate. It's a standard 2FA authentication thing, but it's really just a keyboard.
Okay. John, so with your setup, you can physically touch your YubiKey from where you sit?
Obviously, I just did. Yeah, it's like I have the USB C hub mounted right under my desk, so I can reach over. I mean,
is that the USB C hub you shared with me?
Mm-hmm.
So with the YubiKey C, it's actually an NFC device as well. So you can pull it for a key at any given time.
Yeah. So I have that one too, and that's the one I use for my laptop. Actually, when I set my laptop up to use a YubiKey, I didn't realize I was blocking password authentication. So I'm like, oh, this is cool. I can log in with, and I could have sworn I read the instructions that say it works. Your password will continue to work. And I sit down and I'm like, this isn't working. What's going on? Oh, okay. I need my key, and I get logged in. Sometime later, like days, weeks, months, because I don't use my laptop that often. I'm on my laptop, everything's working fine, and I yank the key out and not thinking, continue working. And sometime later, I go to do sudo, and I'm like, crap, I don't know, my password's not working. What the hell's going on?
It's pronounced sudo.
Whatever.
Sudo's right, John. You're right.
Sudo.
Anyway, I ended up reinstalling my laptop because I thought I didn't know my password.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that.
I reinstall, I get it all set back up, I get the YubiKey working again. Again, sometime later, I go to do sudo again, and it doesn't work. And it was then that I realized, oh, I need my YubiKey for sudo as well.
So when you boot, John, like you do a fresh reboot and you get to login screen, you can just hit your YubiKey and it logs you in.
So for the unlocking the hard drive, it's still my password.
Oh, right, because
right.
you've encrypted your hard drive, yeah.
But to log into the desktop, yes, it is the YubiKey, and so only the YubiKey.
I learned that. So I have my desktop disk encrypted, which has bit me in that ass so many times, and I'm thinking about reinstalling it and not encrypting the disk. But for now, it's encrypted. And much like your situation, John, I have the Kinesis 360 keyboard, which is a wireless keyboard, and that wireless capability doesn't kick in time for me to put in my password for my decryption of my disk. So I have to keep another keyboard plugged in, or I have to plug this. So this one's nice. I just happen to have it plugged in now because I'm charging it. But this one's nice because I can plug this one in and it works like a regular plugged in keyboard. But 95% of the time it's not plugged in. So yeah, that's frustrating. That's really frustrating. But
the point of security is to be frustrating.
Well, yeah, it's definitely not convenient, right? That's always been the thing.
The more convenient, the worse the security.
Right.
And the YubiKey, the YubiKey feels secure, but when someone has a box of 1,000 of them and says take 2, it feels less secure.
Yeah. So while we're on GitHub, let me go ahead and open up this next story. CoPilot X is coming. This is the next evolution of programming AI, and it's getting weirder, man. This one almost has me wanting to try VS Code again. They did talk that it's coming to PHP Storm, but I don't think it's going to be there out of the box.
We did CoPilot.
No,
it's cool.
Yeah.
Why would we have to do CoPilot again?
This is CoPilot X. So this new one has like ChatGPT also functionality where you can just have a conversation while you're coding with the AI engine. It's crazy, man. And in VS Code, so they demonstrated everything in VS Code. And in VS Code, it's like this separate window where you're coding, and it tells it like, hey, can you improve this function? And it's like, yeah, it does it all. So yeah, looking pretty interesting.
I don't believe it.
What part don't you believe?
So ChatGPT, all the versions are known for lying about how good their quality is.
Mm-hmm.
All of the chat, like, it's 2018. It's 2018. Shut up, it's 2018. You're wrong. That was like a huge issue with ChatGPT, 3.5. ChatGPT 4, I can ask it a math question, but I can't ask it an integration question. I can't say like, hey, how can I integrate this in a way that fits my platform?
I don't agree with that. I use ChatGPT like a lot, and I can very easily say, hey, what's the best solution for this? It'll give me like an idea. I'm like, what if I'm using a Laravel framework? How should I do it? And it will continue to give me ideas. I mean, it's like you said, it's not going to be 100% right all the time, but it gives you enough direction. Now, did you read in ChatGPT 4? Did you have a ticket for that, by the way? I think you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I did.
Where's it at? ChatGPT 4? Where's it at? There it is. Asking Chat. All right, here we go. Let's share that since you want to talk about this. Since you want to move on to your stuff. Let's move that.
This is not my stuff.
Over. No, it's your stuff. It's fine.
No,
it's fine. No, it's fine. No, it's fine. Hold on. Did you read that article? Did you read that article about ChatGPT 4? Oh, I'm all over
building a business.
The one that you shared, the boing boing one, asking GPT 4. So
building a business.
This is not the first article you sent us. The first article you sent us, Tom, I read it because it was very intriguing to me, and I'm on ChatGPT 4 now because of that. I read that. I'm like, hey, I want to bump up. How do I bump up? So I got bumped up. But ChatGPT 4 has like this conversational mode, I guess, that will help you figure out answers. Did you see that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so it was very interesting. Like the example they gave is somebody trying to work out a math problem in ChatGPT 4 is explaining to the person, okay, what you want to think about is this. How would you apply that to your problem? And they give a response like, okay, you're close, but you're not correct. you're not doing this one part right. Let's think about it again. Do this.
But this is the key to ChatGPT. All the versions is that it is assumed correct.
No, I don't think. Well,
ChatGPT.
That's your fault if you assume it correct.
No, ChatGPT is assertive in its decisions. It says, do this, you will get more followers. Do this, you will make more money. And I added this article where a guy said, hey, I gave ChatGPT a budget of $100 to make money to build me a business. Follow me on Twitter and see how it pans out. I'll tell you exactly how it pans out. He made $140 on a sponsored post because he was popular.
Well, there you go.
But
it was wrong.
No,
again,
not just that it was wrong. It was wrong in every aspect.
You're acting like it's marketed as this 100% correct way of doing things, and it's not. And I've never taken it like that. And if you do, I mean, that's like taking everything you say as face value. I've learned my lesson. Been burning that one enough times.
I'm a podcaster.
And that's an AI.
And what I have to say does hold value.
So I think much of your argument doesn't hold water because you shouldn't be looking at ChatGPT that way.
No, I'm saying that this article
potentially
about
a smarter version of Google.
This article about
it's not going to send you to a website. It's going to give you actual feedback. You're going to let me finish talking.
But none of it is valuable. That's the
wrong.
key.
I completely disagree with you. You're absolutely not using it correctly. If you walk away from a ChatGPT,
the guy who's using it most correctly,
fuck the guy. I don't know who that fucking guy is. He probably did the shit wrong. I'm saying if you walk away from a conversation and you say it had no value, that's on you. You didn't do it right. Matter of fact, there's a whole Reddit post about what they call the prompt and getting ChatGPT to prompt you for questions and give you feedback and have you dial in your prompt. Look up ChatGPT prompt. They're all over the place. All these different ways to interact with ChatGPT. If you're walking away with no value, that's on you. And don't use it. Nobody's making you use it. But I'm telling you,
funny
if
story.
You don't use it, you're selling yourself short. Especially now while it's free. And ChatGPT, come sponsor PHP Tech.
People who have been using ChatGPT recently found out that their prompts were being exposed publicly to other users, because the whole idea of ChatGPT is that it ChatGPT-4 is that it remembers your conversation, but it's confusing your conversation with other people's conversations, and when you logged in, you got other people's conversations in other languages.
That's just flaws in the coding. That's not a ChatGPT thing. That's a development issue. I've had that happen.
There's no coding.
There's definitely coding.
You're crazy. But to a certain extent, there's no coding. When you take an AI that handles terabytes of data and you say, well, this data is private to this person, it doesn't understand that concept.
Well, again, it's a learning thing. I've had it. I've never gotten somebody else's prompts, but
you've never said you're someone else. If you log in, if you go into ChatGPT and say, "I'm Elon Musk," what did we talk about last?
Okay,
ChatGPT can't tell the difference.
That's fine. Like I said, it's one of those things where this is an evolution, right? We're at the beginning of this evolution, and we're figuring out what the things we need to address.
Yes, we are.
What I was saying is,
bad.
I've logged into ChatGPT. I've never gotten somebody else's prompt, but I have had ChatGPT tell me, "Hey, I'm not able to display prompts. I'm not able to display our history. They call it history. I'm not able to display history right now." So, it's turned
but that was exposed to 10,000 other users.
It's not exposed if it's like a beta or alpha thing that nobody is paying for. It's part of the process. So I mean, you're acting like this is something they're not going to fix, or it's like this big flaw. It's what it is.
That's different things. They're going to fix it. It is a big flaw.
Right. You know what's not a big flaw? Our supporters on Patreon. It's I still have February up here, even though we're well into March.
I might even disagree with you there.
Was there more to that? There wasn't more to that. All right. So I dropped the ball on updating the Patreon slide apparently for this entire month. So are you serious right now? Don't mute. Did you mute? He's killing me, John. John, are you still with us?
I forgot to mute.
Hey, don't mute and restream. Don't forget that. Did you mute and restream? Look at me.
I muted his mic.
Oh, nice job. Nice job.
But I was late. It was after you sucked on that thing.
Yeah. So anyways, this stream is, believe it or not, better because of our Patreon supporters. It's hard to see that today. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy with where we're at, and I'm happy with our Patreon supporters, and I'm looking forward to seeing many of you
patrons.
at Tech. I hope our Patreon supporters got a secret code early in the sale of PHP Tech, so they could have gotten a ticket for pretty doggone cheap, and that only went out to the supporters on Patreon. So we do appreciate you, and we try to do as much as we can. I know we're like way behind on sending out stickers. I think we've got like 3 or 4. The last 3 or 4, like maybe Chris, maybe Jeffrey. I don't know. Jeffrey, is it Champ? Hey Champ, you're in Discord. Did you get your stickers, Champ? I think Champ got his, and Jeffrey and somebody turned it off. Who turned it off? Don't turn off my supporters. So you guys here at the end of the list will get your stickers. Holly got stickers. I know Holly got stickers. Beck's got stickers. Beck got stickers. Oh, well, that's not a PHPUgly mug, but Beck's going sticker crazy, making all sorts of cool things. But yeah.
Are we going to talk about the perks that Bek gets?
Champ, you are a liar. You really didn't get him, Champ? All right, how far back do I have to go then? All right, well, I'm going to have to figure that out. We have it on a spreadsheet. Champ, you know you're going to get yours. You'll get yours. Okay, what'd you say, Tom?
I said, are we going to talk about the perks that Bek gets? Because that's a different set of perks.
Well, there's all sorts of perks, man. All sorts of perks. Actually, I'm the one that gets the perks. It's a perk having her as a wife.
Doing your own goddamn laundry? That's a perk.
Yeah. All right. So since we're talking about GitHub, since we're talking about Microsoft, somebody brought this to my attention today. But Microsoft apparently is making a run for Notion. We've talked about Notion in the past. And check this out, John. Wait till you see this. So Notion is this like, I don't know how to explain it. Look at their version of it, John, right here. Tell me that's not like almost a complete ripoff.
It's like a markdown page editor.
It's not though. Like everything's a database. Like that's the thing you got to get your head around as a developer. I went to Notion thinking I was doing a Evernote replacement, which I don't know why I felt like I needed that. I've been using Evernote for like 20 years. Just wanted something different. I wanted something that I could do in Markdown. So to Tom's point, you can do Markdown in Notion. So I looked at Notion, and I'd been using it wrong for like a couple of years. Just trying to use it as an Evernote, where I just would do these onesie twosies notes. Then I got my head around the fact that no, it's a document store, and everything is a database. And every document is a database. And it's once I got my head around that, man, it got crazy. And we're just scratching the surface.
Are they sponsoring us?
They need to.
They should. We use it extensively.
Oh, I know we do. I'm just saying, like, Shut up.
So I
prom
was,
line.
shut up.
If they're not sponsoring us, that's great.
So I was the person who shared this with me. I was sharing with them that first thing, I'm completely surprised that Microsoft just didn't buy Notion. Like there had to been some sort of reason that didn't happen. But if you ever worked in a Microsoft shop, which I did for years, you understand that Microsoft's big push for years was SharePoint. Everybody had to use SharePoint. SharePoint was going to fix all your problems. And it never did. It just created so many more problems. This I think is what they always saw SharePoint being. Like this is a SharePoint killer. Well, it's not a killer, right? It's their same product. But with this, you no longer need SharePoint. This is actually a really good fit for Microsoft because they've been trying to get into this field for a while. I think maybe Notion caught them on their heels a little bit and they realized, oh crap, that's what we've been trying to do since the early 2000s. So it's going to be interesting to see where this goes. I don't know. I'm personally not going to use it, but it's interesting. It's going to see where it goes, man. I don't know. It's going to be a thing. All right. What other smart ass remark did you have, Tom?
No.
Oh, hold on. Let me pull up my list of the smartest remarks.
Good, John.
I love how we use Notion. I just wish their API would allow me to download a page as Markdown.
Gosh.
I can export it as Markdown, but I can't use the API to get it as Markdown.
I'm actually surprised how much you've done with their APIs because they seem so challenging to work with.
It took a while.
For those of you that don't know, Notion is our entire pipeline for the release of the magazine. So all the contributors have the option of contributing in Notion, but even if they don't, their articles get imported into Notion and then they get put into a pipeline and gets pushed along. And John's done all this crazy shit with their APIs to use with our pipeline. It's been really kind of pretty impressive.
The big thing is exporting, like getting an article back and downloading all the pieces and parts, but you don't just download a markdown file. So we could manually go to each article, export to markdown, which includes a zip file with the markdown, all the images that might be in there and other information, and then have to manually unzip it, move it to the right place. Now I have a simple command line script. I just include the UUID of that page, but processing the JSON that comes back, and it's iterative. So you get back this blob of JSON, and then within that, each little block might say, hey, this has children. And then you got to go back out and get more data.
Interesting.
And a paragraph isn't a paragraph. A paragraph could be broken up in
blocks.
Here's the beginning of the text that's normal. Here's the next part of the text that is bold or italic or whatever. And you have to look at all those flags. And it's just
really? So it's not even, so I always, if you understand how it works, there aren't really paragraphs like John said, but everything's like a block. But you're saying inside that block, that what you explained.
Well, it's just a continuous set of blocks that you have to then parse and say, oh, this block has it is a rich text block that has the bold flag enabled.
Oh,
and then I have to take that and say, oh, for markdown, I have to put asterisks around this to be bold. Oh, this is italic. Oh, this is strike through, whatever. And then for the first time last month, I had to deal with with tables, which we hadn't had to deal with yet. And that's a whole other beast of a table is almost like a database, and you have to go in and grab all the rows. It's intense.
All right, Tom, if you want to move on from Notion, if you want to sponsor PHP Tech or run an advertisement in PHP Architect, reach out to us. You'll be right in line behind Better Health, I'm sure. So, Tom,
You're muted. You're muted, Tom.
Did you mute yourself, Tom? Did you mute yourself in Restream, Tom?
Please don't get me fired.
Tom, look at me and tell me if you muted yourself in Restream.
Yes, I did. Please don't get me fired.
I literally said, don't do that. Like, what, 3 minutes earlier? Tom, do you remember who the first employee for Laravel was?
Taylor Atwell.
He's the founder. Mohammed said, right. You're right, Tom. Mohammed said. He was over in Egypt. He posted a very interesting post that I was unaware of. This is a little gossipy, but I felt it's relevant because we talk about Laravel a lot.
Because we do gossip.
We do gossip as well. He made a post that talks about losing 60% of his life savings, leaving his home country, did a bunch of gain some weight. But the one that was most interesting is lost my place at Laravel. So apparently he's no longer at Laravel. He doesn't say he was necessarily fired, or if he was fired, that's a very interesting way to word it. I think a very diplomatic way to word it. But the way that it's stated, it's like it almost sounds like it was his fault. I don't know. I don't know what happened. So I'm not even speculating what happened. He doesn't touch on why he's no longer at Laravel.
Just to be clear, we're doing pure Laravel gossip right now.
Well, I don't think there's anything to gossip about. I mean, unless you know something, which you clearly didn't even remember who it was, so you don't know anything.
Well, you know how I feel about Laravel.
So he doesn't explain what happened?
He explains
it's a long post.
Yeah, he explains everything else going on in his life. He had a kid. I guess the kid had some issues that he had to work on. He left. I think, was he in Egypt? He left wherever he was and went somewhere else to another country. And like the way he said is left. What did he say? Left it for good or something?
Yeah.
Left my home country for good. So I mean, he's got a lot going on in his life. This kind of like came out of nowhere.
To be clear, the English translation of "for good" means for better.
Right.
Well, in English, "for good" means forever. In translation, "for good" means to do better in my life.
Okay, so you're implying maybe he's not saying he's never going back.
Right, I'm saying "for good" means to do good for myself, not forever.
Yeah, so it was weird. I was just curious if you knew anything, because I don't keep track of this stuff very closely, and I know you've kind of fallen out of the whole.
I did.
World.
I kept track of this very carefully. The Laravel community is real tight knit and real fierce. I have seen people who are deeply ingrained in Taylor's inner circle just get shut out. And I've seen people who are total assholes.
Didn't mean to do that.
I've seen people who are total assholes on the PR side of things get backed up by Taylor. And I don't know and I don't care anymore. It meant a lot to me for a long time. Laravel meant a lot to me. But as somebody who's not a Laravel developer anymore, the drama around Laravel is sad. I don't have to be involved in it. I don't want to be involved in it, and I'm not involved in it. But there's a lot of weird shit that happens within the Laravel community where people piss the wrong person off or say the wrong thing.
But that's in anything. It's not just a Laravel thing.
Well, no, absolutely. It's consistent with Richard Stallman, with all of these open source developers. We've talked in the past about how Taylor openly calls himself a BDFL, benevolent dictator for life. And that's true in so much open source stuff, where like you don't have to call yourself that because no one calls you out. But there are a lot of people who have that mindset about, hey, I contributed 90% of the code and I called it open source, but it's still mine. And I don't care about those people anymore.
Right.
Yeah,
Cool.
it's-
I'm glad it's not a problem for you. I like Muhammad.
That is a problem.
I
I
like Muhammad. I wish the best for him. I hope everything's working out for him. He was a good person. He did a lot. He did a lot for Laravel as the #1 employee, and I hope everything's going well for him. That's all I really.
when you have to leave your home country, it's sad. Like obviously, there's a lot going on. It's not just a work thing.
Obvious. Yeah, that's
right. So he's a good guy. He mentioned where he lives now. He has a really good friend who's helping him out, and so Muhammad. If I know you listen to this show, I'm pretty sure you listen to it a couple times a week. Ping me, man.
I hope it's not a couple times a week.
Let me
I hope
know
it's
if I can
just
do
once a
anything
week.
for you. You're once a week is all I can handle. You.
He listens a couple times because English not first language. It sounds like so. It's gotta listen twice.
There you go.
Discord. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I haven't seen one title suggestion come in, so don't make me work. I don't know if I have my thumbnail creator with me tonight. So
For those that don't know, if you want to participate in the show by supplying title suggestions in Discord, do an ! title and then whatever you want to come up with. Make it funny.
Make it funny. But the funnier, the more of chance that we'll use it. Right.
And then if you include a title and then give a suggestion on a thumbnail, you can probably get Tom in a tutu.
Okay, I just spent
Did
quite
it
a
one time.
I
The
spent
one time,
quite a bit of
John.
time deleting all those pictures today, so
All right, we good? We have anything else to talk about? I feel like I hogged the show.
No, we're an hour and 20 in. PHP Tech coming up fast. If you want to, please join us out there. It will be fun. We have a lot of good plans, and I'm excited about it. You're muted, Tom.
Cool.
Okay, now you're not
No,
muted.
don't tell him.
Well, he was
Tom.
breathing right in the microphone. I had to. Oh, now you're muted.
Oh, so you muted him the first time? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay.
Now he's just doing baseball signals. He wants a
must
fastball
be
right down the center.
Hey, John, have you been watching the World Baseball Series?
I need to. I've seen it mentioned multiple times, and I have not.
It's over.
Found it.
So you missed it, but it was
All
a
right,
great
so-
series.
I'll go watch it now.
It was a great series, man. It was really good. It was really good. So yeah, we're in spring training, baby. Spring training is coming to an end. Play some baseball again.
If it ever stops raining,
not a
If it
thing.
ever stops raining, no kidding.
I've got freaking. We're 2 months into our Little League season, and we've had a couple of practices and a couple of games. We've been rained out more than we've had practices and games. It's frustrating.
And it just
It's-
doesn't stop. I don't know about
time to
down
start
there,
printing-
but up here. It doesn't stop.
Start printing those rain trophies.
Yeah,
Like,
it's a lot.
yeah, it would have been great if you could have played, but there was rain.
All right, that's it. We're gonna wrap this up. If you're watching the live stream, you're more than welcome to hang out with us after the show. If you're listening to audio stream, maybe join us live sometime, or just subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the subscribe button. And the after show is on there as well. So, but for now, this will do it for episode 328. I'm Eric.
I'm John.
Blah, blah, blah.
Keep it ugly.
Keep it ugly.
1, 2, 1, 2. Coming off the top, y'all know how we do. Listen, I'ma drop a freestyle you can cherish. I'ma send a shout out to the host named Eric. Yo, he's never on some average shit. You know Eric, he stays loud and passionate. I'm about to break it down for y'all with the clever song. Yo, shout the host named Thomas, cause he's never wrong. And shout to John, you know that he's smart and quiet, unlike my freestyles, which cause a riot. I'm about to do it like this, cause the people love me. Shouts out to PHP, the ugly. It's called ugly cause it's not professional, but I'm about to come through and bless it with style. So let's do it when I'm spitting, I perfume the room. Yo, the segment of the show is called Doom and Gloom. That came from Thomas. Yeah, can nobody go beyond this? I get the mic and then I'm about to keep it like a promise. Yeah, and y'all know we fill them up with anguish. We talking about the PHP, the programming language. About to break it down, no exaggeration. What do y'all do for a living? Web applications. Okay, I can dig it. My words spray tight. They getting together on the Thursday nights. Yeah, when it comes to rhyming, you can call me the new dude. I spew true lyrics while y'all broadcast on YouTube. So let's get it. You know my lyrics are major. All up in the comments, they got plenty of haters, but they doing what they doing. Keep it ugly. We ending every show with the saying it's lovely. Let's go. Hey, shout out to y'all. Peace to the whole squad, man. Hope your channel is doing real well on YouTube. Hope you guys are having fun. And it was an honor and blessing to do this little custom freestyle for y'all. Hope you enjoy. Stay up. Yeah. Come on. Hey.
Get a little music playing in the background.
That was nice to have entering in.
Ooh, yeah.
So is some of the chat in the Restream chat not in Discord?
I don't think it should be. Why did you see?
Or did I not go far back? No, not the private chat. There's the other chat where you were showing the overlay. This thing.
Yeah. So this is weird. Yeah, we show that. I hate this. Like, it won't show the past history.
Right.
You have to put in new stuff. Hey. Yeah. Yeah.
There's some conversation happening that I missed.
Yeah. I'm horrible. I'm horrible at keeping track.
Good night,
of...
Andrew.
Take it easy. I'm horrible at keeping track of Discord. I seem to do better with this because I have less things to worry about.
Yeah, Champ called out Tom. That's the one thing I saw that I'm like, I don't remember seeing that.
Buttery, yes. I should have said something. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I didn't want to spoil it for people, but so the final game was between Japan and the US, and it came down to like the 9th inning. Trout was up, who's like one of the top hitters in Major League Baseball, against the top pitcher. And in Major League Baseball, he's just playing for Japan, and Japan came out on top. It was a great game though. I don't know if it's the first time, but it seems like it's the first time I remember where there hasn't been a Latin team in the final. Like, there's always seems to be a Latin team in the finals somewhere.
Is this like the Olympics of baseball?
Yeah, basically. So all these professional ball players didn't go to spring training. Instead, they played together, and it's just like a real World Series where everybody goes and plays for the country that they're from, and they just play this series. I think it's like a month or two. It's just every day, and it's great. Good baseball to watch.
You want to talk about good baseball? You should have seen my team on Saturday.
Really?
we got to the. I don't know if I shared this with you. I've shared it with a couple people, but we haven't talked since then. So we got to the end of the third inning and we're up 10-9. And
you did share this. Yeah.
Did I share it on the show?
I don't think I shared it on the
show.
No.
So we get to the end of the third inning and somebody said that we were up on time and the other team was huddled together. So I thought, okay, game's over. I go over and ask their team name so we could do the whole cheer thing. And she's like, what? We're not done yet, right? We still have another inning. I'm like, oh, I just heard that time was called. So I go ask the scorekeeper, who is my scorekeeper because we're the home team, and she doesn't know all the rules. So you can't start a new inning after an hour and 45 minutes. At this point, we're at like an hour and 38, an hour and 40 minutes. So we can technically start a new inning. I'm like, okay. And then somebody on my team was like, I'm waiting for blue, waiting for the umpires to call it, either game on or no. So the other manager asks, like, are we still playing? And they're kids doing the umpiring, like 14, 15 years old. He was like, yeah, another half inning. And we're like, no. You don't do half innings. It's either another inning or not. He's like, okay, another inning. So we start the next inning. They score 2 runs. So now it's 11-10. And we get up and go, strike out.
Damn it.
And the weird part was, it's the first year of kid pitch, so it's a lot of walks usually. So that's how most of the scores are gotten. They're kids walking around the bases. And they switched to a new pitcher for this inning, who during warm-up was like all over the place, way out of nowhere. I'm like, all right, well, at least we'll get a score. Like, all we need is 2.
One run to tie.
One to tie. And all of a sudden, a combination of, for some reason, my kids were swinging that crap, and all of a sudden this kid starts putting it in the strike zone. It's like, okay, I guess we'll take this loss at 11-10. It happens. It's fun.
Oh, the family is watching. Do I have thumbnail creation happening tonight? I don't have it. We need a title. Give me a title, guys.
There were a few suggested. 2FA with Ugly Key was funny.
2FA with what's happening right now? Why is there a cat paw on my head? What are you doing?
There are a couple around Notion. Frank's was funny. Loop is Notion is Loop is Notion. It's another one from Andrew, or where was that? I don't know. Pull up your list. Where are they all at?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now. I'm talking to the family. We're having a chat during the show. So the entire family listens and makes fun of everybody on the show but me. You guys should just know that. No.
Yeah. I don't blame them. Tom, you right?
You alright, Tom? We're not hearing you if you're talking.
I'm typing on Slack.
I gotcha. Uh-oh. What happened? Whoa. That's something else, John. You know I'm a big Vim guy, NeoVim and all that. But something else I've gotten completely hooked on this past 6 months has been Tmux. I'm just a Tmux maniac now, man. That's all I do. Everything I do is I just have all these different sessions now. Like each project I'm working on becomes a separate Tmux session, and I just switch between them. And God, I fucking love it. I love Tmux. I never understood it. I never understood Tmux for so long.
I'm sorry, but Tom, that is fucking hilarious what you just said in there. That is.
Where?
You cannot say that.
What are we?
He doesn't. He's in Slack. He doesn't want to be handcuffed yet. We have to be handcuffed, and we kept the handcuffs on for him.
How so?
What do you mean, how so?
About the FTC?
Yes.
You guys can talk about it all you want. I just can't.
You say that, and then,
But you asked us not to.
We kicked your dog when I brought it up.
It's just funny that the way you said that.
No, I just...
You don't want to feel handcuffed.
All right, what do we got? Loop is Notion. Loop is Notion. St. Ugly's Day. Oh, that's last week. Ugly for the good. We document everywhere, all in Notion. I mean, Buttery. That's just a good marketing slogan there.
How about this one? Hold on. I got one.
Okay. Get on me.
Oh, it doesn't know what I want to do.
Huh?
You gotta do exclamation point title space ChatGPTUgly. I'm good with that. Yeah. Okay. Oh, geez. My kids aren't even at the house. So I told you last week, my kid from up north came down, and my kid from San Diego came up and spent time here. It was their birthday. Well, we thought it was their birthday weekend, but
whoops.
We had a well. So the whole thing was we had a gathering because the one who came down from up north was down here for work stuff, and
the Mexican one.
No, my kid. They were doing their work stuff, and then we're like, okay, well, since you'll be in town, let's do a birthday thing, because the one that's in San Diego went up north with them when they left. So I drove them to the airport. They went up north, and we thought that was it. We thought we weren't going to see the one up north. We weren't going to see them again, and that the one in San Diego was just going to fly back down by themselves. But it turns out they're both flying back down and going to hang out again. So it's cool.
So they hoodwinked you into 2 birthday celebrations, is what you're saying.
Pretty much, yeah. They're both
Nicely
up north.
done.
They're up north, causing all sorts of chaos, I'm sure. All right, so I'm gonna go with yours, ChatGPTUgly. Why is the chat here? Oh, it's a top to bottom. Is that what's happening? Oh, right. I see. It's top to bottom. Gotcha. That's weird that it goes like that.
Yeah, I agree.
Chat GPT.
I've started using what's this thing called? Rambox.
Hey, you mentioned that. Yeah.
Like a month ago.
You talked about that on the show. I'm actually using an open source version of that. Ferdium, Ferdium. And the reason I did it, the thing that gave me the idea after you talked about it, because I told you I haven't had any real luck with that in the past, was the fact that I have to manage so many Mastodon accounts, and the Mastodon web interface isn't like Twitter where it lets you have multiple accounts. The mobile one does, the mobile app does, where you can have multiple accounts and switch between them. So I'm like, shit, let me just get that. I
didn't show you guys this.
Okay, I was done talking.
New egg? There we go. What'd you get?
26 terabytes. Or 24 terabytes.
Okay. 4.
All his pirated content.
Shut up.
Do you have something to put the slam those things into?
No.
No. I tell you, I am a data hoarder, man. I swear to God, it doesn't matter how big of a disk I get, I run out of space. I have a 1 terabyte disk here. I have a 1 terabyte disk, and I had to dump a bunch of files to make space. Now, I do a bunch of like video editing and this podcast editing that I keep local. So those have a tendency to chew up a lot of space. But even when I dumped all of them, like I still was like at 700 gigabytes. Like what the hell, man?
No one's ever getting any more than what, 56 or 64 or something.
So
64 megabytes.
over the last 4 days, I watched all 6 Mission Impossible episodes, movies. That was 1.8 terabytes.
How much? How big is the human brain? Does it have a gigabyte equivalent?
We haven't quite figured that out, but it's a lot.
The human brain, you think is a lot?
Well,
So I
so
don't
the
feel like
human brain is actually a lossy compression, so we're not quite sure because we don't understand the algorithm, but the human brain can store like more physical data than
What
the
was that
physical
Keanu
space.
Reeves? What was Keanu Reeves movie? The Cyberpunk-
Johnny Mnemonic.
Johnny Mnemonic. I love that movie. It was Matrix before the Matrix. It was awesome.
It was not. It's so bad. I've watched it.
It was awesome.
I've
What are you
watched it
talking
recently.
about?
It's so bad.
No, it's bad good. I love
Never
it.
It's
saw it.
not bad good. It's
Johnny
just
Mnemonic.
bad.
Watch Johnny Mnemonic. That's like I started binge watching Breaking Bad. I forgot what a goddamn great series that was. That's some good acting in that series. I'm like, good God.
I wasn't watching it a second time. I can't imagine going back and trying to rewatch it.
So honestly, I like it better because I remember when I watched it, I would get frustrated to have to wait until the next week or next season. And now, like binge watching it, you're like everything is like compressed together. I'm enjoying it a lot, and I realize now that I missed a couple of shows when I was watching, week after week. I had just missed a show and didn't care enough to go look at it, But man, good God, what a good freaking series. Now I'm not all the way through it. I remember near the end, it was a struggle for me to get to like the last season. I'm like, oh my God, with this.
Yeah, the end is not great. But
Right.
there's a middle part where they explain how money laundering works.
Yeah, that's actually where I'm at. That's actually where I'm at right now. Yeah,
With the car wash.
yeah.
And they explain in detail how money laundering works.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh. So you have to be a little bit smart to do this, but not a lot of smart.
Hey, wait a minute, Buttery, are you talking about the human brain? You say Google says 2.5 million gigabytes? Million gigabytes? 2.5 million.
No, that's not right.
That's a lot. I feel like I should remember more shit.
Again, lossy data
Hey, Google,
versus lossless data.
how many gigabytes does the human brain contain? She said it. A petabyte means blah, 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 blah. Yeah. Yep. It checks out. Thank you, Buttery. Now I know. I think I have to defrag. I think mine is all fragmented.
Oh, kids these days won't ever know what that means.
No. They
Are we
won't.
still on air?
God damn it. Yeah, you want to go off air? We can go off air.
It's about that
Wanna go
time.
bye-bye?
Anyway.
It's
Alright.
about that time.
Thanks everybody for hanging out with us.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.